Hi, this is Jan. In this video I'm going to give you a quick overview of the new DAVEGA X. So first, what is it? It's an onboard computer for electric skateboards, and it's compatible with the Weather's speed controller or VESC, as well as the devices that derive from it, such as the Fogbox Unity. And it can show you the real-time, session and lifetime data. First, let's have a look on what we have on the main screen. So up here we have the remaining range, so that's 35 kilometers now. Then we have the average cell voltage of the battery pack. We have the average consumption in watt-hours per kilometer. We have the distance covered in this session, and we have the VESC temperature in the degrees Celsius. Currently the metric units and the Celsius are used, but this can be switched in the menu. You can have miles and Fahrenheit if you want. This screen automatically switches when you get going. So when I push the throttle, you'll see that now we are getting the speed instead of the range, and once we come to the stop, it switches back to the stationary screen when where the range is displayed. The device has 3 buttons, down, up and say confirm or enter. These up and down can be used for switching between screens. This is the overview screen. So the information that we have here is the average cell voltage, the average speed, distance covered in this session, remaining range, the motor current, the maximal current, as well as the minimal or the braking current, and the same for the battery. The motor, if you're running dual, then the max current for the motor is for a single motor only. So if you are running dual, then the total would be the double of the value. And lastly, we have the temperatures, the temperature on the VESC and on the motor. These motors don't have temperature sensors, so this is currently showing some random value. Here we have the session screen. So we have average speed again, the maximal speed, distance covered, average consumption in watt-hours per kilometer, then total watt-hours discharged and total watt-hours recharged, and the same for milliamp hours. Then we have the total uptime and in minutes and the total riding time. And lastly, we have the lifetime screen, which has basically the same information as the session screen. The difference is that this one is showing the lifetime values, and the units are different somewhere to accommodate larger values. So we have, for example, the total discharge energy is in kilowatt hours here, as well as the recharged. Okay, so that's for the screens. Now let's have a look at the menu. We enter the menu by pressing the middle button. The first item we have here is for resetting the session, and if we confirm, it will reset all our session data. So the distance covered is set to 0. If we switch to the session screen, you'll see that everything is reset to 0, but the lifetime screen, of course, retains all the values. Next, let's have a look at the battery settings. So we have the number of cells in series. If we press the middle button, then we can change the value using the arrows, and press the middle button again to confirm. We can select the cell type. Let's switch to LiPo. We can adjust the battery capacity, So now this may look that it would take forever to change it to some reasonable value, but if you press and hold the button, it will keep getting faster and faster. So at the end it's not that bad actually. So yeah, now I can set it to say 20 amp hours like this. Okay. Yeah, and we have the usable capacity. Next, let's have a look down here. This option is quite interesting. So it allows you to change what you're seeing on your main screen in the main area. So by default it's the speed, but you can change it to say battery current. And now if we exit the menu and now if we push the throttle, we'll be seeing the battery current instead of the speed. Now of course, because there's no load on the board, the values shown are very low. Another interesting option is switching the display orientation. So the device is primarily designed for this view, but you can switch it to the landscape mode by rotating the display by 90 or 270 degrees. This changes the display layout. Now the user experience here is slightly worse, for example, because the buttons are now not correctly labeled. Yeah, also the branding is sideways, but in general this is usable. You can see that the menu is working, but let me switch back to the standard view. Okay. One interesting feature that we recently added is the parts lifespan, which lets you to keep track of the lifetime of the parts that you're using on your electric skateboard. So these are some of the parts that I have on my board and how many kilometers I have covered on each of them. If I wanted to add a new one, I can use the plus sign here. So now I have a new part, which is called part 8 by default. And if I select it, now I can change the name. Now typing with 3 buttons is a bit tedious, but it can be done. Excuse me. So first of all, I need to delete everything. So by press and holding the down button, I can move all the way to the backspace. So if you go all the way down, the last symbol is the enter, which you'll use when you want to confirm what you have typed. And if you move it uncorrected forward, then you get the backspace. And now if I use it repeatedly, I can delete everything, and now I can type something in. So let's say I got a new BMS, so I'll type in BMS. Like this. And now I need to scroll back all the way down and press enter. And yeah, now it's done. I can also adjust the initial value. So for example, if the BMS was used and I already had maybe 100 kilometers on it, I could adjust the initial value like this. Okay, so now it's correctly added, it's the correct initial value. Next, let's have a look at the Wi-Fi settings. So we use Wi-Fi for the firmware updates. So first of all, the Wi-Fi network needs to be selected. So if you click on the Wi-Fi network, it will scan the Wi-Fi and it will display all available networks. So this first one is mine. And now I need to type the password for it. This is the same as entering the part name before. So my password is basically the same as the network name, except there's an exclamation mark at the end. So let me try to type it in. It will take a little bit of time. So yeah, this is a bit tedious, but you only need to do it once. And an exclamation mark, and now scroll all the way down to the enter. Okay, so now the Wi-Fi is set up and I can go ahead and try to update my firmware. So if I select firmware, I'll see all the firmwares that are currently installed on the device. We can have multiple firmwares installed and we can switch between them. And if I check for updates, it will connect to the server and it will tell me if an update is available. So we currently have the version 0.5.0 installed. That's indicated by the active here. And so the remote tells us which firmwares are available on the server. The local tells us which are installed locally. And you could have both options. It could be local and remote, which means that it's both installed locally and it's available for download from the server. So now let me try to install this new one. So I'll select it and select download and use. So now it's connecting to the server and it will try to download the new firmware. Okay, but unfortunately, yeah, it failed with a memory error. So the firmware update is quite hungry for memory, and so this sometimes fails, but it's okay because if we press the button now, it should restart and try again. So yeah, now it's connecting again and hopefully it will work this time. Okay, it seems it's working now. So it's downloading all the files, nothing bad happened. Yeah, this will take just a few seconds. And now it's successfully downloaded, and when we press a button it will reboot the device and it will run the new firmware. So let's do it. Yeah, it's now saying going to boot to 0.5.1 and we can see up here that we are running the 0.5.1 firmware. Switching between firmwares is easy. We just go to the firmware menu, and if we want to downgrade to an older version, we simply select it and select use, and now it will restart again and it will boot up the other version. So now we are running the 0.5.0 again. So that's what I had for this demo. As for the future work, I'm preparing some screen customizations as well as adding completely custom screens. Also, the DBMS integration is coming. DBMS is an open source smart BMS. It's one of the best available for electric skateboards, and one obvious advantage of building the integration is that you'll be able to read individual cell voltages on the display, which is very useful information. If you are interested in more details about the DAVEGA X, I'll leave some links in the description so you can check those for more information. Thanks for watching.